The radical power of softness, redefining strength in a world that demands too much. Have you ever noticed how we glorify the grind, the hustle, the push through pain, the I'll sleep when I'm dead mentality? It's almost as if exhaustion has become our cultural currency. The more depleted you are, the more valuable your contribution must be. I recently had the profound opportunity to interview Ashley Simpson, whose wisdom and insights transformed my understanding of what true strength looks like. Ashley isn't just a thought leader, she's a revolution in human form. Her work has helped thousands reclaim their humanity in spaces designed to extract their labor without replenishing their souls. Her insights form the foundation of what I'm sharing today, and I'm eternally grateful for her generosity in allowing me to amplify these truths. We've been sold this dangerous myth that strength means endurance without limits, that success requires sacrifice of self, that rest is, well, for the weak. But what if everything we've been taught about strength is backward? What if the most revolutionary act isn't pushing harder, but knowing when to be soft? When I spoke with Ashley Simpson, she illuminated something powerful. Your beginning does not define your end. Those words hung in the air, simple yet profound. Think about that for a moment. The storm you're weathering right now, the one that feels like it might break you, is not your final destination. It's merely a season, a chapter, a moment in time that will eventually yield to something new. I want to tell you about Jennifer Randall, a brilliant executive who, by all external measures, was thriving. Corner office, team of 20, respected voice in her industry, but inside, Jennifer was crumbling. I was hustling while hurting, she told me during our conversation. Every morning I'd put on my power suit like armor, hiding the exhaustion underneath. I was navigating spaces never designed with Black women in mind, carrying the weight of being the only one in most rooms. The chronic stress manifested physically: migraines, insomnia, anxiety attacks, and bathroom stalls between meetings, all while maintaining the perfect professional facade. The breaking point came during a presentation to the board. Mid sentence, she simply stopped. The words wouldn't come. The mask cracked. And in that moment of public vulnerability, Jennifer made a decision that would eventually help hundreds. She prioritized healing over hustling. I found a therapist who understood the unique pressures facing Black women in corporate America, Jennifer explained. Someone who didn't just tell me to practice self care, but helped me understand why it felt so foreign, why putting myself first felt like betrayal. Jennifer didn't just heal herself, she created peer support groups, focus on holistic wellness rather than just productivity metrics. She developed workshops that have now been adopted by several Fortune 500 companies' employee resource groups. Her revolution wasn't loud, it was soft, intentional, and it spread like wildfire among professionals who'd been taught that vulnerability was weakness. The most powerful thing I did, Jennifer told me, was to stop hiding my humanity, to show up as my whole self, not just my output. This is what Ashley Simpson meant when she said, "Your beginning doesn't define your end." Jennifer's story of burnout became a catalyst for collective healing. Her breakdown became a breakthrough, not just for her, but for an entire community. But here's what's fascinating about transformation: it rarely follows someone else's roadmap. Which brings me to the second truth Ashley Simpson shared: you have the power to create your own path. We live in a culture obsessed with formulas: 5 steps to success, 10 habits of effective people, the proven path to whatever you want. It's as if we're all supposed to be following the same instruction manual for life, as if our souls came with identical operating systems. But what if your soul is calling you in a direction without a well worn trail? Landis Harwell faced exactly this dilemma. As a rising star in her field, Landis was doing everything right, working longer hours than anyone else, always available, first to volunteer, last to leave. I was exhausted, Landis confessed during our conversation. But more than that, I was confused. I'd followed all the rules, checked all the boxes. So why did success feel so empty? The answer came during a mandatory vacation her boss insisted she take after 3 years without a real break. On day 3 of doing absolutely nothing, I had a panic attack, Landis said. I literally didn't know how to rest. I'd built my entire identity around productivity. That realization sparked a question that would eventually become the title of her book. What if rest isn't a reward for productivity, but a prerequisite for it? What if rest is revolutionary? Landis began researching the physiological impacts of chronic stress, particularly on Black women who face unique societal and professional pressures. She discovered something alarming. The strong Black woman trope wasn't just a cultural expectation, it was killing us, literally, through higher rates of heart disease, autoimmune disorders, and mental health challenges. I realized that in a world that extracts everything from Black women, choosing rest isn't selfish, it's survival. Landis explained. She began teaching boundary setting techniques like saying no without guilt and small daily practices that center joy over exhaustion. Her book, Rest is Revolutionary, is now required reading at several HBCUs. But the most powerful part of Landis's story isn't her professional success, it's how she modeled a different way of being. When I started prioritizing rest, people noticed, she told me, not just that I seemed happier or more creative, though I was both. They noticed that I was giving them permission to rest too. This is what creating your own path looks like. It's not just about personal freedom, it's about blazing trails that others can follow. It's about questioning the systems that equate human value with productivity. Which brings me to perhaps the most radical insight Ashley Simpson shared. Softness is strength. We've been conditioned to believe that strength means never breaking, never bending, never showing vulnerability, especially for Black women who've historically had to be twice as strong while navigating spaces not designed for them. Marination Tullos understood this all too well. I grew up with Black excellence as the family religion, Marinacia shared. My grandmother cleaned houses for white families during Jim Crow. My mother was the first Black woman to integrate her nursing program. The message was clear: we don't have the luxury of weakness. This inheritance of resilience served Mary Nacia well as she climbed corporate ladders. But when she faced discrimination in a leadership role, being passed over for promotion despite outperforming her peers, the old strategies failed her. I did what I'd always done: worked harder, stayed later, proved my worth through endless output, she explained, until my body simply refused to cooperate. A health crisis forced Marinacia to confront a painful truth. The strength that had protected generations of her family was now harming her. I realized I was perpetuating the very systems that were designed to extract everything from Black women without giving back, she said. By never showing vulnerability, by never asking for help, I was reinforcing the idea that we should be able to endure anything. Marinacea's revolution began with a simple, terrifying act. She started telling the truth about how she was really doing. She created safe harbors within her organization where colleagues could express fears openly without judgment. She modeled setting boundaries unapologetically, even under pressure. And most radically, she began advocating for authentic vulnerability as a form of power. The first time I admitted in a meeting that I didn't have all the answers, I was terrified, Marination recalled. But something magical happened. The entire energy shifted. Suddenly, others felt safe to be honest too. And that honesty led to better solutions than any one of us could have created alone. This is the paradox Ashley Simpson illuminated. True strength isn't about enduring endless hardship. It's about honoring your need for rest, healing, and authenticity. When you make self care non negotiable, you become unstoppable, not just for yourself, but as an example in your community. So, where does this leave us? With three powerful truths that can transform not just how we work, but how we live. Your beginning does not define your end. No matter how cloudy or difficult your current situation may seem, it is not your final destination. Every trial and season of pain can be a setup for growth and transformation. The rain comes to wash away what no longer serves you, so the sun and new blessings can shine through. You have the power to create your own path. Just because others have taken one route doesn't mean that path is meant for you. Sometimes true fulfillment means forging ahead on the road less traveled, even when it feels lonely or uncertain. Softness is strength. Real strength isn't about enduring endless hardship, it's about honoring your need for rest, healing, and authenticity. When you make self care non negotiable, you become unstoppable. I stand before you today not just as a speaker, but as someone who has witnessed the transformative power of these truths. I've seen how embracing softness can heal wounds that no amount of pushing through could ever touch. I've watched as people reclaim their humanity in systems designed to treat them as machines. So I challenge you, what would your life look like if you stopped measuring your worth by your output? What dreams might surface if you gave yourself permission to rest? What healing might begin then if you allowed yourself to be soft in a world that demands hardness? This isn't just about self care, it's about dismantling the systems that have convinced us our value lies in our productivity rather than our humanity. It's about creating workplaces, communities, and families where vulnerability is seen as courage, not weakness. Today, I invite you to join this quiet revolution. Take one bold step toward prioritizing yourself, whether it's setting a boundary, seeking support, or simply taking a nap without guilt. Because when you honor your need for softness, you give others permission to do the same. Remember, the world doesn't need more exhausted heroes. It needs whole, healed humans who know that sometimes the most revolutionary act is to be soft in a world that demands too much. Your softness isn't weakness, it's your superpower. Your rest isn't laziness, it's revolutionary. And your healing isn't selfish, it's sacred. The time has come to redefine strength, not as endurance without limits, but as the courage to honor your humanity in all its beautiful, imperfect, soft glory. Thank you.